Hello, everyone. Glad to see you back here at Silver Tears Tarot. And of course, a warm welcome to anyone who is joining us for the first time. Today, we're looking at a question that came from a viewer. It's a question a lot of people will have asked. You look at the situation that you shared with somebody and all the ups and downs, sometimes the timing of those, and you wonder, how did they really feel during that? What really happened back there? So, like I said, this came from a question from a viewer, but it also comes from a couple of the conversations that I've had with others of you. So, this is a reading to ask that question, and we're going to tease apart some of the energies, get into a little bit, get into it a little bit deeper, and just kind of shine a little bit more light on it. It's a collective reading, but those of you who have been around for a few weeks know this collective has some very specific and striking patterns to it now. So, for one thing, we have a lot of people who are in a runner chaser dynamic where the chaser isn't really chasing. So, just one of those things I've noticed about the group. So, as always, it's a general reading for all signs. It's timeless. So, this is going to show up for you at the right time for you to get the message. Um, and it won't resonate with everyone, but if it does with you, I would say please like and share and subscribe, so you can stick with me. And if it really resonates, maybe check out a few of the recent videos to see if those messages feel right for you too. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to sort of look into the big idea as we look to see what happened on your soulmate journey. So we're starting with kind of the main message of the reading. So this is the main message. The reading is going to be more or less wrapped around this concept. And here we have the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. So that's an interesting one. That is it's so in the upright, that one of the meanings of the Nine of Pentacles is like emotional independence. And so in the reverse, we have something other than emotional independence. I'm not going to specifically say it's emotional codependence, but we'll see when we clarify. So I'm reading for you, by the way, with the Radiant Tarot, and then I'm going to clarify for you with the Constellation Tarot. So the Nine of Pentacles, though, it's not an independent emotional sort of situation. Something is happening there. It can be as simple as the two of you having triggered one another into another set of learnings, but that's the main idea. That is what really wants to come out as we think about the main message for this reading of what happened in the past. So there was this sense of being triggered, this sense of emotional dependence upon each other's emotions. Let's get an energetic backdrop here. So this is going to be kind of the energetic backdrop during the time that you were spending most of your time together. Oh, and there's that partnership, and it's a strong partnership. Visceral. I feel a visceral feeling. This is the Two of Cups. It's very strong partnership. It's very much coming together, and there's a lot of love here. There's an awful lot of, if you have any question in your mind as to whether they really meant it, they really meant it. They weren't necessarily great at understanding what that meant or showing it, but they were quite genuine in how they felt. So let's ask that question. How did they really feel about you? How did they really feel about you? Um, oh my goodness, you guys. And I just like to take that top card, the World. You are the happy ending. So when you look at the journey, we call it the Fool's Journey because card 0 of the major arcana is the Fool, and it goes all the way through 21, which is the World. This is that happy ending. It's after you go through the tower. It's after you reconcile. It's after you pass judgment. You get to the World. And it's like this wonderful happy ending. And you are the finish line as far as they're concerned. That is how they really feel about you. My goodness. I couldn't have planned that. Let's see how they have thought about it since things have changed. How have they been thinking about it? Oh, let's see here. So we're actually going to take both of these cards. And as you guys who have been watching me for a while know, I usually just take the top one unless I'm guided to take more than one. But I got to take both of these. So the way that they have been feeling about it ever since then, like they just assume they're coming back slowly but surely in your direction. They also understand they've got a choice to make, a decision to make here. Does not feel like an easy one, but it also feels like something that they kind of can't make without having some sort of communication with you anyway. So, or at least some sort of interaction, some sort of knowing that there's still a desire to move in that direction. Um, that's really interesting. So we've got this sense of interdependence or codependence emotionally between the two of you that it's kind of framing up the reading, but this just amazing sense of partnership that was underlying the energy when you guys were together. They thought you were just they thought the world of you, you know, and feeling like you're that happy ending and feeling like it's not over. They would still want to move back your direction. They still expect that they're moving back in your direction. Um, let's see about hidden energies here. So this is what you wouldn't be able to see about what happened. And we have the Six of Cups. Okay, so the Six of Cups is it's a nostalgic card. It's a card of nostalgia and looking back, but it's also it's looking back so far in this case that you probably there's a karmic tie here or a soul tie between the two of you. It doesn't necessarily mean that you would define your relationship as a karmic soulmate. You can have a karmic tie with somebody with whom you have a different type of soulmate relationship. But you guys do have a karmic tie that helps you to feel this sense of partnership that you probably felt pretty early on, if not immediately. It's part of the reason they're so magnetized to you, but it's also part of the reason that it's a bit of a feeling like you're off kilter and not being sure how to exactly come back. It's like they're incredibly magnetized, but they can't seem to make it happen. Let's see here what do they really want or what have they really wanted throughout this? What do they really want? Sometimes this shows us their hopes and fears. So it's balance. They want temperance. They want the sort of comfort that feels like everything's going to be okay. That's really kind of what they have wanted. So let's take a look now. I'm going to go ahead and clarify, like I said, with the Constellation Tarot. We're going to start with the Nine of Pentacles in reverse here. That's talking about the main idea of the reading and talking about it as if it is emotional interdependency, emotional codependency, emotions that are somehow relying upon one another. But I also, so the first thing that comes out here is the moon in reverse. The moon in reverse is a card of things being revealed. And it's an interesting sort of feeling the way that it is here because it's like the two of you when you met things became immediately different for you between you and you it was almost like a soul recognition if not a soul recognition but it also threw into stark relief how much hadn't quite been done yet. So if there was anything that either of you was feeling a little bit bad about, feeling a little bit awkward about, all of a sudden it came to the fore. So if your person, and I get the sense there's a little bit of anxiety there, possibly even a little bit of depression, but if your person was feeling a little bit threatened and also feeling a little bit codependent and feeling like they didn't quite have the emotional self mastery that they needed to make it through this situation successfully. That's part of what caused the dynamic in your situation. So, as these mysteries started coming out, you would think that would be a good thing, but it kind of caused them to have the desire to hide their head in the sand a little bit. So if that may hopefully explain a little bit of some of the actions that you will have seen. Let's take a look at this Two of Cups here. So remember, this is that energetic backdrop at the time that you were spending a lot of your time together, and there's like this amazing, it's it's just a partnership vibe that's happening there. You guys were an amazing couple. And then it was also, there was a sense of kind of being confident, fearless, flirty, just walking on a cushion of air when you were together. It's a very delightful sort of energy that comes out there. Oh, let's see. What is this one? Could swear I just saw another card come out here. All right, yes. Okay, so we have the Knight of Cups that's come out along with the Two of Cups, and then Auriga, which is like the chariot in the traditional tarot. So the only thing about this one, this is a really interesting card. So the Constellation Tarot is structured much like the regular tarot, but some of the characters are a little bit different. And so in this case, we've got a character, Auriga, who is basically utilizing his own ingenuity to make use of technology to make things a little bit better for himself. So he has a disability, and instead of just making it so that he can move, he makes it so that he's able to really move. Like he's really covered some ground here. That's a problem solving sort of moving forward sort of behavior. But when we see it in the reverse like this, something's not quite connecting and it's getting in the way of the problem solving and the true moving forward. So there's this desire here to move forward and to do these loving actions that matches nicely with this partnership, but there's also something in the way. So it's like it's this beautiful energy, but there's a catch to it. And it's like a self sabotaging sort of energy as well, which, they really felt like you were pretty fantastic. So let's go ahead and clarify the world. So let's see here. We have the Three of Swords in reverse. You were helping them to overcome some sort of pain that they were still sort of reeling from a little bit when they met you. When you guys first came together, and they feel like it's a huge missed opportunity. They felt like they were missing opportunities with you from go. So there was something that was making it so they couldn't just come toward you. There was something about it that was stopping them or causing them to. Some of you work in the same place. Some of you work in the same place and they were afraid to approach you because of its, being in the workplace, not wanting to break policy, not wanting the complexities that come along with it. Some of you have marriages, some of you, it's both. But there were all kinds of circumstances that were causing things to be a little bit more complex, but they were feeling from almost very early on that they were missing opportunities. And yet you were like repairing their heart. You were unbreaking their heart for them. Um, that's part of, this is a really interesting dynamic that the two of you have here. So there's a soul tie, there's a deep soul tie that I can't wait to get where we can clarify this one. So let's go ahead and clarify over here. We're going to clarify the Knight of Pentacles and the Two of Swords. And let's see what comes out for that. Okay, so we've got Centaurus. That's like the Hierophant. And that's about tradition. And let's see, that's a single card. I'll take it. And this is the Six of Swords in reverse. That is about still being in sort of a tumultuous emotional space. So we saw up here that there might have been a little bit of anxiety, might have been a little bit of depression that was kind of impacting things. And like I said, it was thrown into stark relief by the reaction that they had to coming together with you. So when we look into it a little bit more deeply and we realize, kind of how they've thought about it since then, There's this decision they feel like they need to be able to make, but they feel like their emotions are really still rolling too hard to be able to make this type of decision. And so they're continuing to sort of go very slowly, and it looks like staying away. It almost feels like this is the hidden energy over here as well as this, but it's this just kind of, and it would be kind of hidden because it's how they've felt about it since then, where the communication either hasn't happened at all or where it hasn't been as good. They want to make sure they do this right, in a properly spiritually guided sort of way, but they're a little bit lost about what that could possibly mean. And that's one of the things that really comes out strongly in this energy. Trying to keep it so that you guys are able to see it, but then I suddenly decided to choose two cards over here for this section. So let's take a look at this Six of Cups. Finally get to look at this. So this is that soul tie um, between the two of you that we see here. So there's that Two of Swords in the reverse, making it so difficult to make this decision again. And then we also have, let's see what we have, the Nine of Pentacles in reverse again. So that's that same card that we have up here, but now it's coming out in this deck too. And it's really about that. The way that the two of you are kind of, you're energetically interlaced in a couple of ways here. So this Two of Swords in reverse. It's almost like you're interlocked, like you can't unlock far enough to even make a decision. It's, oh, there's this song, and I can't remember which song it is right now, but within the lyrics, um, it talks about the kite strings having come together and they were knotted up to the point where, in order to come apart, we had to cut them off. It's a really cool song. I'll have to go see if I can find it and put it down in the comments below the video so you can find it, because the whole song is really pretty neat and might make a little bit of sense along with some of this energy that I'm feeling along with it. But yeah, there's this feeling of I can't really get away from this, and it's because of that soul tie. There's also this Nine of Pentacles, that feeling that the whole reason that this was triggered in the first place is because the two of you come together in a way that almost just can't be avoided, can't be ignored. And the energy is just, it really meshes together kind of perfectly. I think the nature of your relationship might be something that we look into when we go into the extended, because we see how they're feeling about you. We see how there's this sense of incredible partnership, but there's also this catch. There's something that's very difficult here. This anxiety that we feel over here, and that sense of, as things become kind of more open and more out in the open, it doesn't necessarily make things easier for you guys. There's a decision that has to be made, but it's like with that interlocking impasse, you almost can't make the decision because of the soul tie. You might want to make a decision that causes you to walk away from one another, but you're unable to do that. So that's kind of what I feel here, but I think I want to take a closer look. First, though, let's go ahead and clarify this Temperance card. So this was the what did they really want here? And they wanted balance, comfort. They wanted to feel like everything was going to be okay. That is the feeling that they have here, or that they wanted to have with you. And sometimes, it's interesting. I get the sense they had it with you. They definitely wanted that feeling of newness, that feeling of being with you, the door opening to them, you opening to them. And they didn't feel like this was something that they could have. This is something that's kept away from them. It's a missed opportunity. Yeah, okay. So there is something that was getting in the way here that is like a third energy, but again, not necessarily a person. So this third energy could be something that is the work that is between the two of you. Up here, I mentioned that the two of you, some of you might work together. Okay, I feel like some of you work together, but I also get the sense that's creating friction. That's creating a bit of a problem. They feel like that would be a threat to this balance, and maybe that this is a door that would be scary to open. Um, but they really want that balance. They want there to be balance so badly that they're willing to sacrifice almost anything for it. But as they are realizing up here, their definition of happiness and balance is pretty difficult, and they're not really in agreement. So their idea of happiness is you, but their idea of balance is kind of feeling like they're not anxious, and you and this experience they've had with you has caused them to be very anxious. So it's like they are very much drawn to you, but they're also repelled because they feel like I have to get to a place where I don't feel so awkward and I don't feel so difficult. Because honestly, I don't feel like they have that awkward, difficult feeling in all the rest of the places in their life. It's mostly when they get close and they have this soul tie and the contradictions start to fly and they realize, my gosh, you're fixing me just by being in your presence. But I also feel like I'm being torn apart because these mysteries are starting to come out. So I think as we go into the extended here, we are going to take a look at what is the nature of this relationship. What is truly the nature of this relationship? And then let's also look into a little bit more kind of, and I want to say how they feel about you, but it's really kind of let's bring that into today and see how things maybe have evolved. Because we see here that they kind of just always assumed they'd be back, that there was a decision that's being very difficult to make. They feel like they're still too busy, that they can't really make it right now, that they certainly can't make an appropriately guided decision right now. Things are just too crazy. That's the thing that I keep feeling like it's going through my mind. But I'm curious to understand, like, where does this actually go next as far as they're concerned? Let's take a look at that as well as the nature of the relationship. So, before we do that, though, I think I want to grab you an oracle card here. This is from the Quantum Oracle. Love this deck. Let's take a look at just kind of, and this is when I pull an oracle card, it's generally that overarching advice. So, what else? Oh, here, I think that's a single. Nope, it's not a single card. I like to take just a single card if it falls face down like that. Oh, we have taking steps and intention. So this is about you, though. This is about taking steps in your own direction, because this piece here with the Nine of Pentacles in the reverse and the being the main message of the reading is mutual. It's both of you that were kind of interlocking, like we see over here, that like puzzle pieces with your mutual need to have your emotions sort of taken care of by one another. And so this is about moving in a direction that is your own. So you have a bit of a, like, you can't necessarily completely disengage from this relationship and still learn the lessons, and we kind of get that sense right here. We'll look a little bit more deeply into it, but there are steps that you're going to be able to take. We're going to look into that in the extended too. There are some steps that you're going to be able to take that'll make things a little bit better for you. So that's what we'll do. We're going to go ahead and go off into the extended. I'm going to go ahead and stop this here. If this did resonate for you, then like I said, please do like and share and subscribe, and maybe even check out a couple of the other videos that we've had out here recently, because like I said, there are definitely some patterns that are showing up here across the collective, and there might be some messages that are in there for you. Um, so again, thank you so much. I'm headed off to the extended. Hope to see you there. And if not, then I will see you again in another reading sometime soon.